Hello, YouTube! Welcome back to the Every Closet. My name is Stephanie, and I've been running an online clothing resale business for the past 5 years. However, I did take a hiatus from YouTube, so there have been a lot of changes since then. This video is just to update you guys, since things are always changing in any business, and since I'm constantly learning and adapting my processes, there are some things from my old videos that I just don't do anymore or don't believe anymore, and some that I have always done and still do. Let's start with the things that have changed simply because of my circumstances, not like things I think you should change. The main circumstance change is it's just me here now. There's no Ethan and there's no 2 other employees. So we went from 4 people to 1. I also have less space, and even just me alone have less time to dedicate to reselling because I help with Ethan's business too, something like 10 to 15 hours a week. Because of that change, we no longer have an active eBay store. Very recently, we also stopped selling on Posh US. Managing 3 stores was a lot, and Poshmark Canada was always my best-selling store, and so when I had to scale something back, because I did, those 2 were the easiest to cut. Plus, perhaps someone down in the US made it somewhat more cumbersome to sell to there from Canada, but we're not going to talk about that because I am not allowed to discuss anything political on my business social media, for good reason. Anyway, another thing, we no longer list 20 items per day. It's simply just not doable by just me, while I'm also doing sourcing and shipping and talking to people online, coaxing sales out of them, and maybe making content now again. So I just can't list 20 a day and do all those things. I only have about 30 hours a week to dedicate to this. It's not possible. Also, because I'm no longer shipping any cross-border shippers, and people have asked, I was using DYK as a cross-border shipper in 2023. We switched last half of that year to Stallion Express. I would probably still recommend either, just obviously since I don't need them, I'm not using them. I also heard from a Posh friend of mine that you literally cannot ship anything that they can't prove was not made in China. So like, unless it says made in Canada or made in Bangladesh, I don't even know. I don't know what the different tariffs are. All I know is she can no longer ship things that are made in China to the US without a huge headache. And so they check all of her packages. They stop them, they look in them to make sure she's not sneaking any Chinese made goods in. It sounds like a huge headache. If you're still cross-border selling from Canada to the US and you have any such updates, like things that are new that are allowed or aren't allowed, or just like other things that have changed since, the changes, please share with us in the comments below, because I'm guessing a lot of people have questions about that, and because it's simply something I stopped doing, because again, it's just me now, I can't answer most of those questions. All I can tell you is I'm no longer doing it, and it's because I don't have the capacity. Now let's go over some things that I'm no longer doing, simply because I decided it was better for my business not to do these things. Number 1 on that list, I'm no longer sourcing much at consignment stores. Things just haven't been moving as quickly, from my store at least, for as much as they used to. Sales prices have come down for what you can get for a specific item. I credit this a lot to Posh shows, but it's likely a number of things, including like the economy and more people taking up thrifting themselves, and maybe the alignment of the moon or whatever, I don't know. It's just a trend I noticed. As a result, I can't pay up as much for inventory as I used to. I was picky before, but now I'm like extremely picky, and I rarely shop at the consignment stores that I used to frequent, which is such a bummer because those trips were like the highlight of my month. They were so fun. It was like going into a thrift store and only finding bolos. It was a good time. Also, something I think because of Posh shows mainly, I very rarely get rid of inventory fully anymore, especially if it was very cheap to acquire or if it was free. Now, as long as it doesn't have a flaw or like even a major flaw, usually what I'll do is I'll put it into a pile that will just be going to Posh shows, as opposed to like fully listing it with all my regular inventory. This feels more productive than when I used to try and drop off stale inventory at Plato's Closet and any other methods of clearing inventory that I had in the past. So that's a new avenue that I didn't have before. So that's like a positive change. That's nice. I no longer include thank you notes. They're a waste of time, they're a waste of space, they're a waste of paper, they're simply wasteful. And yes, I used to get some compliments on our thank you notes for like the little jokes we had on them. I ran out one day and my printer was also broken, so I just started sending them out without thank you notes in them, and guess what happened? Literally nothing. Same seller rating, same amount of sales, zero impact whatsoever. So I am now firmly in the camp against fancy wrapping, free gifts, anything including in people's packages other than what they ordered in good condition. Usually that's all anyone ever was expecting from you in the first place. I know that it feels like you should be showing your gratitude, but just send them a message. It's free, and they prefer good communication anyways. So what is the same as it used to be? Pretty much everything else. Specifically, my business model is similar. I made this formula in this video way back years ago, and I stand by that math to this day. I follow it whenever I decide whether I'm picking something up or not so that I can make my minimum $20 profit per item, because I still do not consider $5 or $10 profit worth the time of sourcing, storing, photoing, listing, and shipping. It's a bit different if you're simply sourcing for Posh shows, but because of the pricing in my area, I can't really do that. Like, I don't have the bin, that's still not a thing. So when I'm sourcing, I use that formula still. Another thing that's the same is our inventory system. Same as it's always been. I'll link the video here, but it was one of our very first videos, so it did have me thinking perhaps I could have explained it a little bit more clearly than I did in that video. So if you guys do want another video going over our inventory system, perhaps more concise, perhaps a bit more streamlined, clear, maybe updated for a few tiny things, but it's basically the same, let me know in the comments because I can totally do that. Another thing that's the same is most of my supplies. It's the same shelves, the same IKEA bins, the same photo tent, even the same sweater shaver as back then, because none of it's gone bad. Like, I have the same steamer, I have the same everything. Plus, back then, I think I told you guys this at the time, I lucked into a bunch of poly mailers back in 2022, and I have not bought poly mailers since then. The only thing I've had to replace is the big poly mailers, and I only have to do that so often because not many orders are the big orders with like 6, 7, 8 items or one giant puffer jacket or something. Those are the like 19 by 24 ones. I didn't come across any of those for free, so I have bought probably 3 more packs of those since 2022, but that's it. I am still using the same few apps to help me with my business, so I am still using PhotoRoom. Never stopped. I love it. I still use Google image search to find stock photos, and I still use PrimeLister. So when I first filmed this video, it was before the PrimeLister video, so I was shouting it out as like, look what's coming up next. But now it's look back. So here's that PrimeLister video talking all about why I still use it and what I still use it for. Check that out here.
I'm obviously wearing makeup. I don't know what that's about. And I clash everything. I didn't mean for all this to clash so perfectly. My shirt clashes both colors, the colors clash each other, everything clashes everything. It's just a really poorly designed video, but this is the options I had for a background in here. If you go past these things, there's like a mess, like a huge mess, so we're not gonna do that. Why? I'm a shark. Oh no, you can see my whole face. Now I'm a shark.
Obviously, another huge thing that has changed, and we knew this would change, right? We knew it. What I'm sourcing. I made that gigantic bolo list way back then, and I can still share it with you guys, just way more quickly than I was. But only about 2/3 of it is even relevant anymore. So there's many new brands that I have started sourcing, or that I've started sourcing again, and many that I've left behind. I also feel I have a just slight, less emphasis on brand these days. I feel like fashion is a little bit more focused on style lately. That's just a trend that I'm noticing in my head. Maybe I'm making it up, but let me know if you agree in the comments. Is it more about brand or is it more about style? It's probably definitely still a mix, but I am leaning slightly more towards the style lately, and the brand seems a little bit less vital. Okay, so there you have the things that I'm no longer doing, either because of my circumstances or because I don't agree with them anymore, and things that I am still doing or things I've started doing since the last time we talked, which was like 2 years ago. So I thought I'd do an update because, of course, as we know, business is always changing, especially reselling. So we have to change with the times. Let me know if I missed anything that you were wondering about, whether it's still happening or not. And until then, I will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye. Don't do that.